Well, and you look at what's happening in Minnesota, like this Justin Jefferson stuff is pretty wild, dude.
But
like,
I think this Justin Jefferson story is a bunch of nothing about nothing. There is no credible information outside of, message board warrior and, hey, look at me, I'm a source guy, to believe that the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade Justin Jefferson. There's there is nothing there. ESPN is reporting the exact opposite. I think if you look at what Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah said, the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, he flatly denied trading Justin Jefferson. Flatly denied it. And I think when you look at the ridiculousness and you look at the idea that the Vikings are trading him, you look at what ESPN's reporting. They're reporting that Justin Jefferson and the Vikings were about $1 million apart last summer and couldn't get a deal done. And now you have the general manager saying trading him is not something that once crossed my mind.
Which, again, I part of it is like, hey, what else would he say? Number one. But number two, I believe him. I mean, that's a pretty genuine quote. I personally believe him. And I think that the problem is the Vikings have a track record of trading wide receivers in their prime. That's the problem. And so Diggs goes to Buffalo, which is how you acquire Justin Jefferson ultimately.
Yeah.
And now there's speculation. So this goes one of two ways. You're either going to do the deal and people are going to say you're not good to your word, or you're going to lock him up
right.
and you're going to overpay for him now because he's got the leverage, and it is what it is. That's just how it works.
You can't tell me that if you are the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, you cannot tell me you're going to go this hard on the record and then trade Justin Jefferson.
No way. And you're certainly not trading him to the Chiefs.
Because you have complete control over him for the next 3 seasons minimum. They picked up his 5-year, right? And you've got 2 tags.
Yeah.
Why would you? There's no reason to do that. You can make him the highest paid wide receiver ever, which is what it is said that they want. Adolfo-Mensah said straight up, we've never thought about trading him. He is the best receiver in the NFL and he should be paid commensurate to that, is what they said about him in Minnesota.
I agree.
And the only report, and I was talking to an NFL friend of mine, the report came from Fansided. Fansided is one of the worst portals. It's fans giving, they don't pay their writers, and their fans given the opportunity to write about their team. And that's who wrote this, that the Chiefs are close. Where's the NFL source on any? Do you think if the Chiefs were about to trade for Justin Jefferson that Adam Schefter would know about it? I would think he would.
I would think he would.
I would think the myriad of NFL Network guys would know about it.
Yeah. But
Kevin Seifert, the NFL Vikings reporter for ESPN, flatly panned it. Said absolutely not. There is no chance. Now, I think the bigger question in Kansas City, what are you doing with L'Jarius Sneed? Because this is the best cover corner in the NFL. And you have to find a way to keep him. It sounds like they're going to tag him or trade him. And I think that is going to be a significant issue. You have to upgrade the wide receiver position. There's no doubt about that in Kansas City. L'Jarius Sneed is going to be one of those guys you're going to be like, yeah, that's the one that got away. That's the one that got away. And already he's being linked to Detroit, which I think is exactly, the perfect fit. They need him in Detroit. Their big play, they're so susceptible, and they gave up so many big plays. At the end of the day, it's why they didn't win the NFC.
Yeah.
L'Jarius Sneed's a great fit there. I wouldn't let him go if I'm Kansas City.
No.
That is just... But you're in this place where you're in this dynasty run now, and you can only pay so many people, and you got to get Patty help.
Yep.
You're going to have attrition on the offensive line that you're going to have to replace. If you keep Sneed, you're probably losing Chris Jones, and I think they're going to pay Chris Jones. But L'Jarius Sneed's a hell of a football player.
Yes.
And I don't know how you don't re-sign the guy. I really don't. And I think that the The avenue for L'Jarius is you're going to put a tag on him and then you're going to trade him.
100%. Yeah.
And I understand it. Listen, I'm not saying that it doesn't make football sense to tag Snead and then trade him. It does. You're going to miss that cat on defense. He allows you to blitz with peace of mind. And that's a very rare thing in the NFL. He's that good at corner.
Yeah.
And he makes play that strip fumble, that punch out that he had. Like, you look at the way he plays in the biggest moments. I want that guy on my team.
Yes.
I want that guy on my team. And it's just, it is a big, big deal. Let's see. Where are you guys at on all this stuff? Dakota Tubbs. OG Gary is a very credible source. Very credible.
Yeah.
Many I forgot about. Good call on Pickett. Who's Pickett? Let's see. Mike Smith. Jake Locker, Christian Ponder. Tim Tebow, all QBs that were overdrafted. Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
Dude. The overdrafting of hello, Mitch Trubisky. Like the over.
Yeah, but he helped you get to the playoffs. What?
Do you guys see what I deal with?
How was that incorrect?
Do you see
it's
what I deal with?
It's not Trubisky's fault that Buddy couldn't make a field goal.
I say things on this show. And then I have to deal with Flapjack Boy over here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, he helped you get to the playoffs. Mitch Trubisky is one of the worst draft picks in the history of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. You know, Mr. Double Doink, and I'm not going to say his name on the show ever again, but Mr. Double Doink, yeah, that hurt. But what happened after that? What happened? Yeah, Mitch Trubisky was slurping glizzies and jizzies like there was no tomorrow. Freudian slip. But the point is, you look at all of the quarterbacks that are missing. Quarterback is the most dangerous draft position in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Always has been, always will be. And it's why you scratch your head at teams where Justin Herbert was your guy. You paid him and you hired a defensive coordinator. Oh, that went horribly wrong. And he started hinting he wanted to leave. Oh, so you hired the best available quarterback guru you could get in Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. If your boy from Lubbock had wound up with the Bears, right? Patrick Mahomes is not Patrick Mahomes today if he had gone to the Bears, because the Bears don't know how to handle quarterbacks.
Facts.
And you have a defensive coordinator as your head coach. Ebersucks is still there. And you've run through how many offensive coordinators? And I'd also remind you that Nagy was your head coach, who was supposedly an offensive guru, and it's one of the worst hires in the history of the Chicago Bears because he was never going to be a head coach. And then you built an offense that went against everything that Mitch Trubisky was good at. That's why Patrick Mahomes succeeded in Kansas City, but would have been a bust in Chicago.
Absolutely. 100%. It's not hard to understand.
It ain't rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Get Cousins. I agree. The Bears need Joe Flacco. Nobody needs Joe Flacco. Let's see. Dakota Tubbs says OG Gary's a very credible source. Steve Stepanek. It's just how it comes out. I've heard that before. You have to have a good front office and culture and a great coaching staff first. And we don't.
No,
we don't. We don't. OG Gary, why hasn't he signed Justin Jefferson to a longer term deal? We tried last summer and they were $1 million, $2 million apart. And I think they lost money on that deal. They had signed JJ last summer. It would have been cheaper than this summer because now you got to figure out if Justin Jefferson wants to be there.
Yeah.
Big question. And again, I know this is going to piss off BYU Nation, but Jaren Hall's not your quarterback of the future.
Oh, but Monty, he's an all-time great at BYU. Come on.
He hasn't performed and he hasn't been healthy. Oh, that's funny. That's exactly what happened at BYU. Am I wrong? Like,
no,
he was oft injured at BYU.
Yeah, he was hurt a lot.
Now, he performed. He was a phenomenal player at BYU when he wasn't hurt. But look at the play where he got hurt at the goal line against SC. Gets in the game for the Vikings, concussion, this, that. Like, That's not your quarterback of the future. Like, again, we can go up and down. You know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Burrowhead Stadium, no question about it.
No question.
Justin Herbert, no question about it. What are the Saints going to do? Well, the Saints are probably trying to draft that 36-pound boulder from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
That's what OG Gary wants anyway.
Of course. That's what all Saints fans want.
Or you can just hang on to Derek Carr and Jameis Winston. Although they've said they're not bringing Winston back, but it is what it is, right? Dakota, so maybe trading Justin crosses his mind not once, but twice. I don't think they ever would have. I don't think they would ever trade him. If he walks away, you can play the victim.
Mm-hmm.
If you trade him and he goes on to win 2 Super Bowls, that's tough to swallow.
Yes, it is.
Because let's be honest. Is Minnesota that organization where you're like, man, they're going to do everything they have to do to win a Super Bowl? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not really.
Either. No, I don't think so either. I really don't. Christopher Shannon, for what? What would you get in turn? That's a big question. Huge question. Harry Austin, how good is that wide receiver without a quality QB? Well,
yeah, I mean, there's some of that, no doubt.
But if you exchange Kirk Cousins and you slide in Patrick Mahomes, how much better is Justin Jefferson?
Yes.
Stefon Diggs. If Stefon Diggs goes somewhere other than Buffalo, is it any fails? Was that Josh Allen made him good, or was that Diggs who wasn't good? I don't know.
Well, I'm inclined to say Diggs, considering the drops he had. But
Mike Smith, Chiefs would not pay Hill what he wanted. Well, did you guys see the Tyreek Hill story?
Dude, I don't know what Buddy's doing.
He's being sued in a civil case for breaking a woman's leg in a football demonstration. Oh, I'm sorry. An influencer's leg in a football demonstration. You know. Michigan isn't going to have a record for drafted players. Just because Michigan's defense played lights out don't mean they all will be drafted. We'll find out.
We'll see.
Only time will tell. Shams reported it, didn't he? I don't believe he did. OG Carey, trade cap ass for Jefferson. Well, what a weird dude. What a weird dude. Wasikowski. Detroit is linked to Daniel Hunter and Snead. Well, I don't think Hunter is not the guy I'd be chasing. He's not the guy I'd be chasing. Is he an upgrade? We can argue about that.
Yeah.
L'Jarius Sneed is the guy that you need. And you're not going to get both. And Daniil Hunter is a guy, well, we'll see. Dakota Tubbs. They're going to tag him and probably sign Chris Jones, which is the wrong move. Oh, I think it's the exact right move. We need to sign Sneed and let Chris walk. He's getting too old. He's getting too old.
See, this is the problem, Dakota. You don't appreciate what he's doing for you. And by the way, didn't know you were a Chiefs fan in addition to being a Missouri fan.
Did you watch Chris Jones in the Super Bowl? I know we're going to get crazy and probably lose our Kansas City barbecue loving minds.
Oh, you guys even watch Chiefs games?
Chris Jones is the reason you won the Super Bowl. Because if he doesn't have those 3-4 snaps, 2 in particular that force Brock Purdy to the right, you don't win the Super Bowl. Pretty simple. You don't win the Super Bowl. Period. RJC man says Snead reminds me of Darryl Green. Well, let's not go comparing people to Darryl Green, because Darryl Green was a completely different player. They don't match physically, in my opinion. Their builds are different. The game is different. The Dion, Darryl Green, that generation of corner, you're different. It's a totally different thing. Darryl Green? Like, do you even know who Darryl Green is?
No, never heard of him.
There you go. Why? Like, you're comparing a player from the 80s. I just don't like that comparison. Offseason is a blast. So many rumors and trade possible acquisitions. I agree. Agree on Snead, Monty. Totally. Monty, tell Jake who Darryl Green is, please. Boy,
Why?
You're just out for Jake today. Washington State, go Cougs. Sources have told me Snead is going to the Seahawks. Mike Smith, hate the Skins, but always respected Darryl Green. Hell of a player. He was a hell of a player. Hell of a player. Jones is our priority over Snead. Not sure we can keep both. I don't think you can keep both. I mean, you have too many needs, and I think Andy Reid is the exact right guy in this conversation. Your defense is great. Spags is great. Schematically, play calling, performer is great.
Mm-hmm.
That team wins and loses with offense. Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have attrition on the offensive line. Going to have to replace that. You've got probably a need for 2 significant wide receivers.
Yes.
Travis Kelce is not capable of carrying the receiving load anymore. And you're going to have to find a way to replace Weirdo on the outside. And if we're being honest, you don't need to pay a receiver what the Dolphins paid Tyreek. But you got to go find your next Tyreek Hill because you need him on this team.
Absolutely.
You need him on the team.
Patty needs weapons, man.
Yeah.